A writer and a poet, a moon goddess, a shining, beautiful maiden. A piece of paper and a pen could no longer hold an aspiration to create a harmonic creation and love within the lad's empty heart. Jason de los Santos was a modern Filipino writer and was well known for his timely written and fictional masterpieces. He had been into much of life, but could never redefine what's missing inside. The cold breeze rushes as the moon kisses the sun in the vast skies. The morning darkness awakened before his eyes, and everything around him seems to collide. His head aches, he fell and everything went black.
What a wonder! What could he been doing here? Is he just alright?
I thought he is a male apprentice of someone like Aniton Tabu.
His clothes doesn't seem to look like he's one of us. Probably a vicious intruder. We must call Mother.
But he's really a beauty.
Dahlia, have you fallen for him?
There you are, my daughters. I searched everywhere for all of you, and here you are, lurking around this flower garden, playing. I thought you were in the culture house learning.
Where am I? And what is this place?
The well-known writer of the Mortal Realm. Welcome to this world, Jason de los Santos. I am Goddess Mayari, the Kapampangan goddess of moon, combat, and beauty. The echoes of annihilation for your empty soul had led me here, and the prayers of your supporters had begged me to hear you.
Oh Goddess Mayari, so you're the one who caused the lunar eclipse, and the prayers had led me here.
You have countless reasons not to give up, my child, as this could be a chance for you, a moment to change your shallow life. I gave my thorough thanks for you tell stories about us, the fiction of Philippine mythology. If you please, join us for a small feast. The Bathala has created you from the very beginning, and your star was predestined for a constellation. You may choose from one of my daughters to be your loving companion in life. Challenge them by their analysis through a concept of literature that will please you to choose the finest one for you.
It is a pleasure, Goddess Mayari. I want to test their intelligence by representing about lexicosemantic levels of analysis. And I also want to share my knowledge about the lexicosemantics, if I may. It is a wish granted if you will let me for this, dear Goddess.
Very well. Listen, my daughters. The right time has come for you to be with your destiny by fates of the star. The one that our guest chooses to will live with him in the mortal world and be united with him as one. It's the one delivered by Bathala. He decided to challenge you by your skills and understanding about the levels of linguistic analysis. I will take my part to lead for introduction, then Jason for the lexicosemantics. My first daughter, the star or Tala, will represent the lexical relations, followed by my sweet Dahlia to represent the connotative and denotative meaning of words. The last lexicosemantic analysis, the idiomatic meaning of words, will be represented by my last daughter, my courageous Alonsina. I wish you all the best of luck, and may Bathala will guide you.
Thank you, Goddess Mayari.
The levels of linguistic analysis. The lexical-semantic level. When we hear the phrase lexical-semantic analysis, there comes the two words lexis, which means words or vocabulary, and semantics that deals with the word meanings. A lexical-semantic analysis calls for the explication of word meanings in a text, specifically issues relating to lexical relations, dimensions of meanings such as the connotative, denotative, literal, figurative, comparative, idiomatic, and other types of dimensions that deals with the linguistic approach for lexicosemantics should be focused on. There are two sorts of theories revolving around semantics. The first one is a semantic theory which assigns semantic contents to expressions of a language. The second one was the fundamental theory of meanings. It's a theory which states the facts of virtue in which expressions have the semantic content that they have. The lexemes are not analyzable units. They have internal structure that determines how they combine with other elements in the sentence. While the lexicon is not simply a finite listing, rather a creative generator of infinite meanings. This sense is what to call for the meaning of a lexeme.
Lexical semantics, also known as lexicosemantics. Lexical semantics is a subfield of linguistic semantics. It is a study of how and what words of a language denote. The units of analysis in lexical semantics are lexical units, which include not only words but also subwords or subunits, the affixes, compound words, and phrases. It covers the theories of classification of decomposition of lexical items. Probably the two most fundamental questions addressed by lexical semanticists are how to describe the meaning of the words and how to account for variability of meaning from context to context. These two are necessarily connected since an adequate of description of meaning must be able to support our account of variation and our ability to interpret. The study of contextual variation leads into two directions: the processes of selection from range of permanent available possibilities, on the other hand, to the creation of new meanings from old by such means the metaphor and metonymy in response of contextual pressure.
It's a pleasure to represent my knowledge for a possible lifetime companion. I am the Diwata Thala, the protector of the elixir providing the joyous trees of Luzon. You have an internal youth that everyone strongly deserves for. If you come to, choose me. Lexical relation. Lexical relations are the connections established between one word and another. For example, we all know that the opposite of close is open, and that literature is similar to book. These words have the significant relationship to one another, whereas words like chair and coffee might have no meaningful relationship. There are few common types of lexical relationship: synonymy and antonymy. Concept of synonymy holds that certain words have the same meaning as other, though this is not always the case. Some synonyms cannot be used in place of one another in a phrase. When words have the same meaning, they can replace one another without altering the meaning of a sentence. For example, Jane is quick, Jane is fast, Jane is speedy. All three sentences have the same meaning even though they are each unique instance of the sentence, only because the meaning of all three words at the end of the sentence are the same. Now, this lexical relationship, as said earlier, does not necessarily hold for all synonyms. Consider some of these pairs: quick, high speed, quick, brisk. For example, Jane is quick, Jane is high speed, Jane is brisk. So, synonyms sometimes lack the same meaning when applied to a specific context or sentence. Therefore, the key to remember with synonyms is that although they have a relationship in meaning, they do not always have the same meaning in sentence. Next is the antonymy. Antonymy is the opposite of synonymy. When we talk about antonymy, we're talking about constructing that in terms of lexical relations are in oppositions to one another. For example, cold, hot, attractive, ugly, and big, small. These words might have two different meanings that are diametrically opposed to one another. categorical and continuous. The categorical distinct is one that has two categories that contrast one another. For example, fire and water. These are categorical because there is no continuum between them. That is, less fire never means more water, and less water never means more fire. Comparatively, antonyms that are on a continuum are constructions like big and small. This is due to the relative nature of these words. Meaning, when we call a horse small, it may be relative to someone else, like other horse, and when the same horse is compared yet again, it might be the case that the horse is not big. So, the meaning between big and small are on a continuum relative to an object of discussion. Some example phrases of antonymy are as follows. Jane is small, Jane is big, Jane is slow, Jane is fast. These phrases have opposite meaning to one another, and we can see these more readily through their applications of sentence. It is also important to note that antonymy can have issues as well, though only when we shift the natures of our communication. Example, the economy is going nuts can also be said, though sarcastically, in the following manner. The economy is perfectly healthy. Traditionally, going nuts and mentally healthy are viewed as opposite meaning. But when we shift the manner in which we speak, like with sarcasm, this relationship failed to hold up. Thus, antonyms works differently when we hold as an assumption of literal or straightforward view of discourse.
Hello! I came to know about your words, and it's quite complicated. I can see in you that you desire genuinity and real love. I am Dahlia, the Diwata of protection and strong foundation, protecting the owl of the Siam paradise. And if could have been me, I will always be by your side. The words denotative and connotative are the adjective forms of denotation and connotation. They are used in the same context to describe words or meanings.
Connotative.
The emotional suggestions of a word that is not literal. A connotation includes the emotions or associations that surround a word. Connotation refers to the wide array of positive and negative associations that most words naturally carry with them. For example, blue is a color, but it is also a word used to describe a feeling of sadness, as in she's feeling blue. Connotations can be either positive, negative, or neutral. Next is denotative or denotation. It refers to the literal meaning of a word. The dictionary definition, for example, the name Hollywood, it connotes such things as glitz, glamour, tinsel, celebrity, and dreams of stardom. To give another example, the denotation for blue is the color blue. For example, the girl was blue. You mean the girl was quiet, literally the color blue.
Neither from both of you will acquire the spirit of wealth and possessions. Humans do need money, reputation, and power to live and survive your world. And if you would come to choose me, I can give everything, even the world to you. I am the Diwata Angusina, protector of the Mindanaoan cave of history's possessions, and I will be presenting to you the idiomatic meaning of words and praise. Idioms are phrases that are sometimes defined differently from the words that are used to make them. In short, you can take idioms literally. One good example is kick the bucket. To others, it would simply mean the act of kicking a bucket. To others, it means to die or death. Idioms can also be called terms because of the way their wordings are defined. Every country, state, region, or location has their own visions of variations of slang words. If you hear idioms or idiomatic expressions that you are not familiar with, chances are you will not be able to understand the meaning behind these words or phrases. The problem with idioms is that you won't understand them unless the speaker tells you what they really mean. Idiomatic phrases that have been used over the years like back to square one means start all over again. This is now understood by almost everyone. The meanings of these idioms had not changed through the passing of time, and it makes these phrases easier to understand. Although there are some idioms that have different meanings, most idioms that are used today still retain their original definitions.
As the goddess meant the word, the famous poet was all good. Choosing the genuine and lovable one, he gazed his loving eyes upon her. And there starts their happily ever after,